Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Hello and welcome to Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast. I'm your host, John Johnson, and I am partnering with Care Of. Care Of is a subscription service that delivers vitamins and supplements which are customized to your specific needs. Now, you take a short quiz, answer some questions about your diet and lifestyle and some fitness goals, and Care Of will put together a personalized plan just for you. So I'm partnering with them, and I wanted to put a shout out for them. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them after my first break. But what I'm going to talk about in this podcast is about making sex work. Now, there's a number of things that we can cover here. We can talk about the concept, and I say the word concept doing air quotes here. And this is, now guys tend to like this. Guys come into a relationship, they want to have sex. Then they get into these situations where they feel like, oh man, when it's early on, we're having sex all the time. But as the relationship sort of wears on, then my partner, she doesn't want to really get into it. How can I get her into it? I mean, I bought the flowers and I've tried to do things that make it seem interesting. And now I'm just feeling like, wow, I just can't get any loving from her whatsoever. Well, there is research. It's not just me saying this, but there is research out there that suggests that, hey, women, even if you're not feeling like you want to be sexual, if you become intimate with your partner, you'll kind of get into the rhythm of this. And I think you both will come out winners. You'll find that he's happy. You feel like you're getting a little bit of love in there, and it might be better than you think. Because face it, the perception that guys have is that if she has the wrong attitude, she's not going to want to have sex. I mean, as simple as that. And once she shuts down, then there is nothing that's going to happen. There's nothing that's going to change that mood. She would rather get on the phone and talk with her friends and be in that conversation than be intimate with me. Well, that's the way it seems to play out in a lot of situations. But given that there is reasonable evidence that supports the idea that tells women, well, even if you don't want to, do it for your partner, do it for the relationship, that what tends to happen is that loving feeling seems to come back. And when that part starts to get re-energized, then both partners do a lot more nurturing for each other. Now, granted, men love having sex with their partners. And women, I know that sometimes this really comes off as feeling like it's a chore. And I've heard women joke about this part too. They make jokes. So, hey, well, just give in to him. He's 5 minutes and he'll be happy for a week or however long it is. And hey, it's true. Guys, after they get with that, they will jump hoops for you. And it's really about relationship. It's about giving to the relationship. Now, you can have expectations. If you're giving to the relationship, you can expect him to give to the relationship. Put it out there. Say what you want, what you need. And that'll also work towards having a better communication. So this is how we're going to make sex work for both of you. It's not just for guys. I think with the idea that, well, just do it for the relationship seems to just be really serving the guys only. No. And as I've said that, it's worth repeating that it works for women too. Because if you haven't been intimate with your partner, you're missing that connection. You're missing that feeling of being wanted, being desired. And a lot of times that's what it is. But when you feel that, when you are given that validation that he really is attracted to you, then it's sort of like, it lights the flame. And that's a good feeling. That's a good something to shoot for. And if you're not feeling it, then you have to ask yourself the question, why? I mean, really ask the honest question, why aren't you feeling it? And there could be reasons. It could be that when you have sex, you feel like there's some physical things that go on. You're feeling dryness. You feel repulsed by that. You need to get down to the roots of this so that you can express yourself. And I understand this from my own experience in life, that I may be angry about something and I'm not really feeling like I want to do this. But once I have been able to identify what my feelings are and speak to them and to the person that I may have an issue with, then it is as if all of that stuff just falls away. When I feel like I'm being heard, being understood, then all the stuff that keeps me from being close, from being intimate, then melts away. And then I want to be close to my partner. Because, guys feel that as well. So it's not always about whether guys are wanting to be sexual with their women partners, and it's women who bear the burden. Let me say that. I don't want to say the word responsibility, but bear the burden of giving in. Because it's not about giving in. It's really about understanding yourself and what your needs are too. And if you figure out what's causing the block for you emotionally, which then could translate to feeling less inhibited physically, then you can make it work for you. Now to the guys who are listening to this podcast and who don't do their part in the relationship, and by their part, I'm talking about whatever responsibilities or agreements that you have that you need to fulfill, whether it's some sort of time commitment, some sort of chore commitment, whatever it is, you have to step up to that. And you really have to make sure that what you're responsible for is handled, is taken care of. Now, this isn't about building up resentments because you're doing all of your parts. You do have a right to speak your piece to your partner, and I suggest you do that. And if you're having a tough time really getting to that conversation, then call in a referee. That's a minister or a therapist or somebody who can be neutral and help you both express yourself so that you can both be heard. Because I have found in relationships that when people are not feeling heard, they're not feeling understood, then they shut down. And it's the shutdown part is what I'm talking about. And when I was talking about just being physical, hugging your partner, being close, and sometimes that kind of gets the spark going, a lot of times that'll help make a breakthrough. It may not be a permanent change, but it's a shift. It's sort of an adjustment that helps things move forward. And once you can get that happening, then sometimes other things come up in the conversation that, it moves forward. And that's what we want. We want to move this thing forward. Now, for the sake of explanation, and I should say this here, when I say make sex work, sex isn't just intercourse. We have to broaden our understanding, our comprehension of what sex is. And by doing this, so women, and I'm saying this to you because I'm a guy who's doing this podcast, but if you're feeling like the only thing your guy wants is penetration, that's what's going to satisfy him, then consider what makes it work for you. If you want cuddling, caressing, hugging, some kissing, say that. Give that a chance. And if you feel like you want more, then you can go for more. But I think when we're talking about make sex work, or at least what I'm trying to define it as, is really give an opening for intimacy, for the possibility of intimacy to happen. And when that's the case, then we see bigger possibilities, better communication, more loving. You get what you want, your partner gets what they want, and this thing moves forward. And speaking of moving forward, I'm going to take a little break, and I'll be right back. Hi there, listeners. I'm John Johnson, the host of the Sex Podcast. And At the top of the show, I mentioned Care Of. Now, Care Of is a subscription service that delivers vitamins and supplements which are customized for your specific health needs. You take a short quiz, and they answer the questions about your diet, your lifestyle, your fitness and health goals, and Care Of will put together a personalized plan just for you. So I want you to get into a healthy routine. And with summer approaching, make health and wellness a priority again, because Care Of makes it easy to upgrade your health routine, and they give you support this season with a boost. Now, whether you're looking for energy, for a better sleep, to maintain stress, or something else to help you feel better, Care Of's online quiz is fun, because what it does, it asks you about your diet, your health goals, your lifestyle choices, and it generally takes about 5 minutes to find out your personal, and it's a scientifically backed vitamin and supplement recommendation. So you answer some easy questions like how much sleep you're getting. Are you looking for more energy? Do you need something to help support your weight management or healthy hair, skin, nails, these kinds of things. See, it really gets personalized. And the nice thing about it, it's easy and convenient. Because it can be really hard to know what kinds of vitamins and supplements that you should be taking, but Care Of will make it easy to find out what you need to be your healthiest. Care Of delivers daily vitamin and supplement packs, and they are all customized to your recommendations. So you only take what you really need. Now, depending upon your personalized Care Of plan, you'll get daily vitamin packs and or protein powder sent right to your door. It is so cute and customized. See, the packets even say your name on them. So now you can modify your subscription at any time when your needs or preferences change. So as you improve, or as you decide that, hey, I might need to do this and add this to my regimen, you can do that. Remember, it's easy and convenient, and you can customize it. So the Care Of experience makes sure that what you're putting into your body comes from the best sources, and they're backed by an honest guidance and transparency. And they're all available to you on their website, because Care Of now offers protein powders which are available in individual packs, or they have it in tubs, and it's all, again, it's all personalized to your fitness goals and dietary preferences. The individually wrapped vitamin packets are now made from a compostable plant-based film that meets the same safety standards. So your vitamins are kept fresh while now being better for the environment. Vegan and vegetarian supplement options are also available to match your dietary needs and to ensure you're getting the nutrients you need for those specific diets. Now, here's something I want to share with you. You can get 25% off your first order if you go to takecareof.com and enter relationship. That is, when you go to the website, you go to takecareof.com, and in the promo code, I want you to enter the word relationship, and that is going to get you 25% off your first order. Now, I went online and did the quiz, and it didn't take very long at all. I was surprised at how detailed it was. Now, they ask you the kinds of questions. What do you want? Do you want to get better sleep? Do you want to improve your memory? Those kinds of things. And those were the kinds of things that I had focused on. So my vitamin packets came in a little more than a week, and I was on my way. So, and it's great. And they're all packaged in the groups. So whatever your dietary needs are, whatever things that you're trying to work on, they're in individual packets. So you don't have to take them out of the bottles and then put them in your pill dispenser and then grab them all out day by day by day. It comes to you that way, and it comes right to your door. So I think you should give it a try. Takecareof.com and enter relationship in the promo code. Hello, welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast. I'm John, talking to you about how to make sex work. Now, here's something I'm going to throw at all the listeners. You got to take care of your health. Good sex, it's one thing to have to fantasize about all the positions you want to get into and that you can last all night long and all of that fun stuff. But the thing is, if you're not taking care of your health, you're not going to be having all that wild sex, and you're going to be Mr. Minuteman and all the other things that happen to guys and women who probably have a hard time being interested in sex because you don't feel good about yourself kind of thing. Guys don't necessarily have a body image issue the way they, maybe around other guys because they don't feel like they've got all the muscles and stuff, so they don't go to the gym, they hang out. But when it comes to body image conscious kind of thing, I have found that women tend to be more sensitive to that than guys, unless it's a woman commenting on a guy that he doesn't quite have all the stuff. Then that definitely sticks in a guy's mind. But back to the point about being healthy, and you have to take your health seriously. I mean, honestly, if you're not eating well, and I just did a promo spot for someone who I'm partnering with, which is Care Of, and they do the vitamins and things. If you are not eating well, if you are not taking care of yourself, it definitely affects your ability to be sexual. Not just the mental part, because I was talking a lot about that in the first segment, but the physical part here, this is about the eating right. And guys, I'm going to tell it to you like this. If you're somebody who is not eating right, you're eating a lot of junk food, fast food, and you have a lot of high-fat foods, these things are clogging up your arteries and it's clogging up your male parts too. It's clogging up your junk. Because the main thing that's happening here, I mean, if you are a guy and you're having some erectile problems, and doctors will tell you this, and you check it out for yourself. One of the things is if you have a lot of high-fat foods in your diet, that fat is traveling throughout your body. And your male parts, you cannot have a really solid erection if what's also in because the penis is a very vascular area, and it takes blood in those vessels in order to make an erection happen. And if there is not much room for the blood to be in there, guess what? It's not going to be very firm. And if you are having these kinds of challenges, maybe you've had some heart issues before, if you're taking a heart medication to kind of help with your blood pressure and things like that. These things are definitely going to affect so that's a medication thing that may be affecting your ability to have an erection. But short of that, if you're having problems with that might be indicative that you could have some heart problems that are pending. And if you have been told to clean up your diet and eat better, that right there is a manifestation of something that you need to look into. So this could be one of those leading indicators that says, okay, I need to check into this. And you can go to your doctor. They can check your cholesterol, check your blood pressure. And if you're already taking medications, and you might be taking medications for these reasons, then why not do the smart thing? Start eating better. And if you're a smoker, I'm going to tell you, you need to cut that out, because that's the kind of stuff that hardens arteries and makes it even more difficult to get blood flow going in and out of your body. Not to mention smoker's breath. That's no slam on anybody, but definitely when the breath is not right, it can kill romance. And if you're wanting your partner, and this goes for men or women, if you're wanting your partner to be close and be intimate with you and your breath is not right, then come on. You got to do better than that. Now, to women, and I'm doing more studying on this part, and it has to do with when women have, and this isn't the body image thing, because we talk about how women look, and if they're heavy, then maybe they're not as attractive. This isn't about body shaming. This goes more to the health part of this. If you have challenges that you need to be dealing with, then deal with them, just like men. This isn't about fat or skinny. This is about looking at, if you are not eating well, then that will affect your physical and your mental. And being sexual when these things are sort of off, I mean, it really changes the experience for you. I know that if you feel better about yourself, if you know you're healthy, then being sexual seems like it's fun. But I also have known people who were afraid sometimes of being sexual because they were worried about what might happen. You're getting close to having an orgasm, and your heart rate is getting up there, and all of a sudden you start having some pains, some chest pains. That can be scary. Again, I've talked to people who have kind of experienced that sort of thing, And hopefully it's a game changer. You realize that you're putting some things at risk, but take serious consideration to your health. And if you have some concerns, then deal with it. That's the best way to do it. Don't bury your head in the sand and treat this like this is something that's just going to go away on its own. Make a conscious effort. And if you're struggling, because I know how for some people food is about comfort, then you're going to have to look deeper as to why it has become that for you. I'm going to take a break, and I'll come right back after the message.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hello, and welcome back to Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, and I'm talking about making sex work. In that first segment, I was talking about how you just get into it by just being in action with your partner, having fun with it, and if you're having communication issues, learning how to break through those, and be there for each other. Do it for the relationship. Now, in the second segment, I talked a little bit more about taking care of yourself, and I talked about body image, and believe me, there's no body shaming going on here. And that's not about what this is. This is about really taking stock of what makes you a healthy person. And if you have some concerns about your health, then deal with it, face it, and you're going to be happier for knowing. Because there's nothing worse than thinking that you might have some sort of illness or ailment and you don't know, but it's just sort of looming in the back of your mind. And if you have something that's just nagging at you, hey, I'm just going to give you the encouragement right now. Go face it. You'll feel a lot better when you know. And if it turns out it's nothing, see, now you've got a load off your mind. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk about here is, the big C word, communication. Communication is everything when it comes to making your love life work. Sex is no different. We all have our things, our preferences, things that we like to do, and it's about sharing that information with your partner. And you're going to find things that, hey, if your partner's not into it, then your partner's not into it. It's always it's an agreement on both people about what they like, what they enjoy. And if there's going to be any experimentation going on, then have a talk about what that's going to be like. Develop safe words and make it an enjoyable experience. You don't want to be scaring or freaking your partner out about stuff like this, because it just turns out it's going to be an experience that you're going to resent. So we don't want that. And a way to kind of break through that, say if you have some things that you want to try, you want to share that with your partner. Maybe if you can't just say the words, write it out on a piece of paper, throw it in a hat, and say, hey, okay, we're going to pick ideas out of a hat and see what we can do, and say yay or nay to that. See, that's a way to kind of break the ice, and I like that one. And if you're looking for another way that might be able to talk about sex and break the ice and think of something, because if your stuff is sort of stale and you need some new ideas, I think that this is a good one. Grab a book that has different sexual positions. It can be one with pictures, it can be artist drawings, but something that you can share one-on-one with your partner. Some people like videos. That's, I've talked about that before, but I kind of like the book where you can kind of hold it in your hand. And when you're reading a book and you're sharing that with your partner, it's special. It's and a lot of couples do this. It's not talked about a lot because we're so visually stimulated by watching videos and things. A lot of us kind of default to watching something on a screen because it's very convenient. But I kind of like having the experience of holding the book. You can kind of see this, and you kind of have to do your homework before you get into the business of being physical with your partner. It's a good way to spend some time, and it's quality time. It's one-on-one, and that's generally what you're looking for anyway. You want that intimacy with your partner. And something that I've seen work a number of times, you can get massages together. I mean, you can give it to each other, but let's just say if you want to do a couples massage thing, just go out, get yourself relaxed, get massaged, go out, have a nice lunch, dinner, whatever it is that you like to do, whatever time of the day that works for you. And that's sort of the foreplay thing that works up to being intimate later on. And remember, sex isn't always about intercourse. And I know that's sort of this default thing that we jump to in our minds. But ladies, if you're not feeling that, then you don't have to do it. Guys, if you're not feeling like you want intercourse, you don't have to do it. But by doing some of these other things, it sort of puts the romance back in the relationship. Because remember, this is about making sex work. And in the first segment is really talking about trying to re-stimulate the desire to want to be physically intimate. And if you're having trouble with that aspect of it, there were suggestions that I made about how to reignite that. And communication is a real big one. And as I've said many times before, you can come out and when you've been able to, say, vent to your partner about whatever concerns you have, once you feel like you've been heard, you've been able to address something, the resistance to being close, the resistance goes away. And the feeling of being heard and understood is a very special feeling. And you obviously want that from your significant other. So the being heard part might not always be a verbal form. Maybe you have to write it out in a letter or send it in a message of some type. But get the words out there, get the message delivered, and then keep it alive, keep it going. I mean, look to resolve stuff, because when we don't resolve it, when we start sweeping things under the rug, again, all those kinds of things are blocks to intimacy, meaning they stop it. Having a good foundation means that you to feel like you can be heard, that you feel desirable, and that you feel healthy mentally and physically, and you feel like you want to share who you are with your partner. Write your love letters or your love notes. Read the books together, or watch movies, or just do fun stuff. Be free with your thinking. And the more you do this, it'll start to move the needle in the direction that you want it to go. Remember, start doing these kinds of things to build intimacy, and it'll make your sex work. You have to put effort into it. It's just not something that's going to happen all by itself, and you cannot expect your partner to do all the work, especially if you're the one that has the concerns that, because, it takes two to make a relationship, but it takes one to stop it. So if your intimacy seems to be on hold or on hiatus or something like that, the sooner you start to address these things, then the sooner you're going to be on the road to having a better intimate relationship, helping to make your sex work. Now, these things work no matter what your age is. If you're young or old, you try these things, they will get you some results. Like I said, you have to apply yourself, because nothing good ever came from you just laying around, just expecting the universe to gift you with something. Put effort into it. I can't overemphasize that. And if you've never had the inspiration to do something like this, well, let's just say maybe you never knew that this is what it took. But now that you have this roadmap to making sex better for you and your partner, then put it into action. Now, I can't overemphasize this part too. Intercourse is not all there is to sex. Perceptually, that's how a lot of people are programmed to think about it. And if intercourse is fine with you, it's fine. But for those who may have challenges with having sexual intercourse as we understand it to be, then intimacy, the hugging, the kissing, the cuddling, the caressing, that is also being sexual. So it helps you to broaden the kinds of things that you can incorporate into being romantic, into being close, into being special. Look, that's all for now. Thank you for listening. This is John Johnson, and this is the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.